What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the JuiceBox presented by LOCKCITY. You got Whighty and Munz here today. Happy Sunday. Hope everyone's having a good weekend, and I really hope that y'all cashed out with us both last night on the UFC Fight Night card in Abu Dhabi. My picks went 5-0 across the main card, which paid several server members about 15 times their money, and Munz was right behind me at 4-1. And as y'all know, whenever we are on the same fighter, it is almost sure to cash. That held true this week as well. We went a perfect 4-0 in the fights that we had picked the same way. Today we have episode 152 of the Juice Box, which will be an outlook into this weekend's UFC Fight Night taking place in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Apex, with this weekend's main event being Amir AlBazi and Tatsuro Taira. But before we get into this weekend's main card, just a reminder, of course, you can join our free tier Discord at discord.gg/LockCity. This gets you access to every cheat sheet every day across all active major sports, access to picks from all 9 of our pro cappers, and tons of other sports-specific and stat-specific data points on a daily basis to help you become a better sports bettor. We drop most of our content on our main Twitter account, which is @_LockCity, but you can also join that free Discord group and get access to everything first. Plus, in Discord, you're getting access to every cheat sheet and every projection, whereas on Twitter, we are mixing and matching and dropping a couple every day, aside from, of course, Free Sheet Friday. In the Discord, we're doing daily picks from our capper team. We have daily projections for all active major sports. And of course, we have those LOCKCITY cheat sheets that we're running daily for a ton of different sports and prop markets. For those of you that follow along for our UFC picks, this includes our weekly call the card picks, which of course we go over on this podcast, our UFC best bets cheat sheet, and capper plays from both myself, Whighty, and of course Munz. You can get better results on your sports betting for free by subscribing to both our JuiceBox podcasts, on both Twitter and Spotify, and turning on post notifications, as well as following both our JuiceBox account on Twitter, which again is at LC JuiceBoxPod, as well as our main Twitter account at @LockCity. For those of you that like the community aspects of things in real time, again, we do suggest joining our free tier Discord, which is discord.gg/LockCity. Okay, now that marathon is done, Munz, how do you feel about this weekend's card?
There's a couple of good fights that I saw when I was scoping out the card earlier today, so might not be as big as a snooze fest as we're thinking. We should have some close fights, some good fights, maybe some knockouts on our hands here. But let's move on. Let's look into it. So the first fight on the main card for this UFC Las Vegas is Danny Silva versus Kevin Vallejos. So Danny Silva's coming into this one with a professional record of 10-1-0, being 2-0 in the UFC. He's 4-1 in his last 5 and on a current 4-fight win streak. He has 5 wins by finish. All of them are coming by KO TKO. Kevin Vallejos is coming into this one with a professional record of 15-1-0. I believe he's 1-0 in the UFC. He's also 4-1 in his last 5, and he is also on a current fight win streak as well. 4-fight win streak as well. He has 13 wins by finish, 11 KO TKOs, and 2 by submission. If you look over at the tail of the tape, Kevin is coming in as a younger fighter by 5 years at 23 years old, but both are still very young fighters. Danny does hold the reach and height advantage in this one. Kevin Vallejos, although, is coming off 3 KOs and 1 submission in his last 4 wins, respectively. On the other hand, Danny Silva has also never been finished, with his only loss coming by decision back in 2022. So this should be a pretty great fight to start off the main card. I think it's going to be pretty close. I don't know if we'll see a finish, but I think I'm going to ride with Kevin Vallejos. Although he's 23 years old, I do see him as the more superior fighter in this one. And there's a high chance that he could deliver Danny Silva his first lost finish by potentially KO. So I don't know. I'm going to ride with Kevin Vallejos on this one. How are you feeling?
That's fair. I don't like this fight at all in terms of trying to pick a side. I think Vallejos, he's coming into this one as nearly like a minus 500 favorite, or at least he was about half an hour ago when I checked it, which to me is a little bit insane when you consider that Danny Silva is pretty talented. He's got a 10-1 overall record. The obvious issue with Danny Silva is that despite being 10-1, he is somehow absorbing 7.96, so basically 8 significant strikes per minute. However, in terms of advantages, he's also landing 7.36 significant strikes per minute, and he's averaging 2.33 takedowns a fight on 46% takedown accuracy, whereas Vallejos doesn't attempt any takedowns, and his takedown defense is spotty at best. So I could see Danny Silva winning potentially off of control time alone, maybe a round, maybe 2 if he's lucky. I'm going to bite the bullet here. I'm just going to go Danny Silva on the money line, plus 360. because I don't see this as like an 80-20 type fight. I see this a lot closer to 50-50, probably about a 60-40. So I'm just going to take the value on this one. I'm going to go Danny Silva on the money line, but would not be surprised at all if Kevin Vallejos wins. Obviously, he's a minus 500 favorite, but give me Danny Silva and what I think is a little bit closer to a 50-50.
Yeah, that's a pretty big discrepancy in odds there. I didn't look at the odds before making any of my picks. I actually didn't look at any of the odds before recording this podcast. So hearing that is pretty shocking. I thought they would have been a lot closer. Like, I feel this fight is going to be a lot closer. Both guys only have one loss. Danny Silva has never been finished. So
Yeah,
I don't know. That's interesting to me. That's interesting. I guess they're weighing it pretty heavy on Kevin Vallejos' 11 KO TKOs.
Yeah, it feels like a 29-28 Vallejos, like unanimous decision for me. Maybe like a 30-27 Vallejos unanimous, but I'll take the juice here. I'll take Danny Silva. Bite the bullet.
Godspeed, brother. Best of luck to you there.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's move on to our next fight here. We have Neil Magny versus Elizeu Zaleski. Neil Magny's coming into this one with a professional record of 29-14-0, being 22-12-0 in the UFC. He's 2-3 in his last 5 and is coming off 2 straight KO TKO losses. He has 12 wins by finish, 8 KO TKOs, and 4 by submission. Elizeu Zaleski is coming into this one with a professional record of 25-9-1, being 11-5-1 in the UFC. He is 2-2-1 in his last 5. He's coming off a TKO loss himself, but he does have 18 wins by finish. I believe I got that right. 15 by KO, TKO, and 3 by submission. If we look at the tail of the tape for this one, Neil's the younger fighter by 1 year. He's 37 years old. He holds both the reach and height advantage in this one. If I could, I wouldn't pick any of the fighters in this. Like, I hate taking guys coming off KOs. Neil was KO'd twice in 2024. Elizeu was knocked out just about 4 months ago, earlier this year, I think in March. So I might have to put a pin in this one myself right now, do some more research throughout the week and come back to it over the next couple of days to see who I like better. But for the very early pick, of course, I'm leaning towards Brazil. So
I feel the same way. I don't love the idea of picking a side of, like you said. Both of these guys are basically 40. They both got knocked out in their last fight, like you were saying. I'm kind of leaning toward Neil Magny here at the beginning because he's been knocked out. He's been knocked out twice in the last year or so, compared to once only by Elizeu Zaleski. So I don't know. It's tough to say. He does have a 7-inch reach advantage. At first, I was really leaning Neil Magny. The more I dug into it, the more I kind of was swayed toward Elizeu Zaleski. I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I don't know 100%. I don't know how much I trust Zaleski's power at this stage in his career. He's made his career off of his ability to hit hard. He's got a lot of illustrious knockouts throughout his career. I don't know. Maybe I'll side Zaleski here just for the fact he's not coming off 2 knockouts. He's only coming off 1 at the age of 40. But minus 215 on the money line leaves a lot to be desired. I think same as you. I think this will be I'll come back to it pick, but upon further consideration, I am kind of leaning Zaleski.
Yeah, at face value, when I first started looking at it, I saw Neil Magny with those 2 KO losses. I'm like, oh, this is pretty easy. I'm going to take Elizeu. And then I went and saw Elizeu's record and saw that he was knocked out earlier this year. So Neil has had more time to recover from those KOs. Like I said, they happened in 2024. I think the last one was in like November or something, late in 2024. So there's a chance he could have recovered, but 2 KOs back to back like that in the same year, I don't know. It made me iffy. And then seeing his Elizeu getting KO'd made me even more iffy. So if I had to choose right now, obviously I'm going to stick with my rule and not go against the Brazilians, but I'm undecided at this point. I'm undecided. So let's move on to our next fight here. We're both decided on who's going to win. We have Karol Rosa versus Nora Cornolle. So Karol Rosa is coming into this one with a professional record of 18-7-0, being 7-4-0 in the UFC. She's 3-2 in her last 5 and is coming off a decision loss in her last. She has 6 wins by finish, 4 KO TKOs, and 2 by submission. Nora is coming into this one with a professional record of 9-2-0, being 3-1-0 in the UFC. She's 4-1 in her last 5, coming off a submission win in her last. She lost her first professional fight, went on an 8-fight win streak. She came to the UFC. She lost her second fight in the UFC and then went in for a submission victory just a few months back. So she's pretty lethal. She has 8 wins by finish, 6 KO TKOs, and 2 by submission. If we move over to the tail of the tape, Karol is the younger fighter by 5 years. She's 30 years old. and she has the barely there reach advantage, with Nora holding also the very slight height advantage. Although Karol is younger, she is the more experienced fighter with more professional fights under her belt. Nora's professional career started just about 4 years ago, I believe. So I don't know. I think I'm going to stick with Karol Rosa just with the experience factor right there. And she's Brazilian too. So it's a little combo there for me.
Yeah, that's fair. Another one I don't love, the first like 3 on this card. I think they get more exciting from this point forward. But give me Nora Cornolle as underdog plus 155. So slight underdog, pretty even in terms of odds. I think she's probably going to be the busier fighter. I think this is one of the few times where I am picking against 2 of our rules. Don't pick against the Brazilians, and then more recently, don't pick the prospects against the more experienced fighters. Karol Rosa didn't look great 6 months ago against Aylin Perez. Aside from Nora Cornolle's split decision loss a couple of fights ago, she's got nearly a perfect fight record in her last 5. She's got 3 finishes in there. I think she'll do enough here to get either a finish inside the distance, probably unlikely, and more likely a win, a gritty decision on the scorecards. So this will be my second underdog already here, but I like her at plus 155. Give me Nora Cornolle.
Very interesting. 2 underdogs for you. She did not look great against Aylin Perez, but Aylin Perez is kind of a beast. That OnlyFans model girl. She is kind of a beast, but I don't know. I think she's going to get it done in this one. I think she's going to get it done. Okay, let's move on. We have Elves Brener versus Esteban Ribovics. So Elves Brener's coming into this one with a professional record of 16-5-0. He's 3-2 in the UFC, 2-3 in his last 5, and is coming off 2 straight losses, with the most recent being a TKO loss. He does, although, have 14 wins by finish, 3 by KO, TKO, and 11 by submission. Esteban Ribovics is coming into this one with a professional record of 14-2-0, being 3-2 in the UFC. He is 2-3 in his last 5. He's coming off a decision loss in his most recent fight, but he was on a 3-fight win streak in the UFC right before that, or sorry, just after he lost in his debut. He has 12 wins by finish, 7 by KO, TKO, and 5 by submission. So if you look over at the tail of the tape, Elves is a younger fighter by 2 years, 27 years old. He holds the reach advantage. The height is basically identical between the two. They're both still very young fighters, 27 and 29. It should be another great fight on this card. I think we're going to see a really, really entertaining fight here. I think it'll be pretty even in the amount of being on the ground and stand-up fighting, but I am actually going against one of my rules on this one, which is taking a fighter coming off a KO, TKO. Sorry, I'm not going against that. Elves is coming off TKO. I'm sticking with the Argentinian Esteban Ribovics in this one. I'm going against the rule of not going against my Brazilians. That's what it was.
Very fair. Yeah, I agree. This is going to be Esteban Ribovics for me all day long. I think he's way too good for Elves Brener. I was surprised that he wasn't like a -5, -600 on this when I looked at it. So I made the picks, then went to look at odds to kind of top it off. He's only -250. So I think that's really good value here. I know the reason for that is because Brener has a lot of nice wins by knockout, especially as an underdog. He's got a lot of nice wins as like a +200, +300. He gets the job done when he's an underdog. He seems to thrive in that position. But Esteban Ribovics is, to me, just several levels higher than him in skill set. Ribovics lands a ridiculous 8.08 significant strikes per minute. I think he could win this by knockout, but either way, he wins this fight. -250 is an absolute gift.
Yeah, damn, I thought those odds would be way more different, but -250 is an absolute gift. Okay, well, that puts us on the same for that one, at least. Let's move on to our next one. Let's see if we're the same here. We have Mateusz Rebecki versus Chris Duncan. So Mateusz Rebecki's coming into this one with a professional record of 22-0, being 4-1-0 in the UFC. He's 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off a decision win in his last, and he was, I believe, on a 16-fight win streak before he was TKO'd by Diego Ferreira. He does have 16 wins by finish, 9 by KO, TKO, and 7 by submission. Chris Duncan is coming into this one with a professional record of 13-2-0, being 4-1-0 in the UFC. He's 4-1 in his last 5 on a 2-fight win streak, both coming by guillotine. He has 10 wins by finish, 7 by KO, TKO, and 3 by submission. If we move over to the tail of the tape, both of these fighters are 32 years old. Chris Duncan holds the height advantage and the very significant reach advantage there. I think this is going to be a banger of a fight. What do you think?
Yeah, same as the last fight for me. So this is going to be Mateusz Rebecki all day, but same thing. I think the odds on this are kind of crazy. Rebecki has excellent takedown accuracy. He fights with tremendous pace. He has the cardio to back that up. Rebecki's last fight was that war. It was an incredible fight with McTivick oral by. Rebecki's an absolute dog in my opinion, and I think I'm going to toss him with Ribovics as a nice two leg. Sounds like free money, almost parlay. But Rebecki is minus 210. I love that for this line. And then if you combine Rebecki and Ribovics, that gets us plus 104, which I think is probably, at least in my opinion, JuiceBox Lock potential. But I'm Mateusz Rebecki on this all day long. I know the public kind of likes Chris Duncan, but he's not winning this fight.
I'd say that's pretty good picks for a juice box lock there. A nice little two leg parlay to get us plus 104.
Yep. Couple easy money lines back to back.
I like that. Well, you heard it there. Say it again for the crowd. Make sure they heard the juice box lock.
Beautiful. We're going to go Mateusz Rebecki on the money line and Esteban Ribovics on the money line. Minus 250 for Ribovics, minus 210 for Rebecki. You put them together, you get plus 104 on Bet365. A beautiful double up.
Cannot go wrong with that. Cannot go wrong with
Love
that.
it.
Absolutely love it. Beautiful. Well, with that being said, obviously I'm on Mateusz as well. So let's move on. I think it's going to be a very interesting fight. Definitely one to watch. If you're not a UFC fan, I think this is one that can definitely get you into that league. So peep in for it. Now let's move on to our main event, Amir AlBazi versus Tatsuro Taira. Amir AlBazi is coming into this one with a professional record of 17-2-0, being 5-1 in the UFC. He's 4-1 in his last 5 and is coming off a decision loss in his last. He does, though, have 14 wins by finish, 5 by KO, TKO, and 9 by submission. Tatsuro Taira is coming into this one with a professional record of 16-1-0, being 6-1-0 in the UFC. He is also 4-1 in his last 5. He's also coming off a decision loss in his last fight, but he does have 12 wins by finish, 5 by KO, TKO, and 7 by submission. Moving over to the tail of the tape, Tatsuro is the younger fighter by 6 years. He's 25 years old. He does hold both the height and reach advantage. Not by a crazy amount, but something to consider there. Both of these fighters were streaking before their most recent losses. Amir was on a 6-fight win streak, and Tatsuro was obviously undefeated before his most recent loss. I think it's going to be a great main event fight for us. Both of these fighters have never been finished in their careers, so we will most likely see it go to the scorecards, but you never know. In the sport that we love, you never know. But if I had to pick right now, I think I would pick Taira. I think he has what it takes to take this one, get the edge, and win the fight against Amir AlBazi. How you feeling?
I agree with you on this one as well. This fight, I also had a really hard time taking a side. I think it's going to be pretty close. These guys are 17-2 and 16-1 respectively, and are both coming off of their first UFC losses. Amir AlBazi lost a unanimous decision to Brandon Moreno, and Tatsuro Taira lost a split decision to Brandon Royval. Again, I think going to be really close. I don't know who's going to win the striking necessarily, but I do know from their last fights that if Taira's losing the striking, he's going to try and wrestle. He's going to try and go for takedowns. He's going to try and find success elsewhere. Whereas when Amir AlBazi was losing the striking, he just continued to lose the striking. He just didn't care, and he lost a unanimous decision. So I know in the Silva Vallejos fight, I took the side of Silva because the odds were wide and I thought it would be closer. But I can't find myself doing the same here and justifying Amir AlBazi. I'm going to go Tatsuro Taira on the money line. It's minus 275, but I think he has more ways to win.
Definitely. And I mean, like, you see Amir AlBazi with the 9 submissions. So, like, when we were watching that fight, you'd think, like, okay, the striking's not working, brother. Like figure it out. Like, you have submission history under your belt, your experience, and you're good at it, too. So, yeah, no, we're both not going to make that mistake again. We're both going to sit with Taira on this one. I like that. I like that a lot. Perfect.
So we're the same on like 3 there at least.
Yeah, we have Taira, Mateusz, and Ribovics.
Yep, and then maybe Zaleski.
Too, right? Yeah, Zaleski. Most likely Zaleski.
We're both leaning that way. Yeah, so potentially 4. So some really good options for the gang there. And then our JuiceBox Lock again is going to be Ribovics and Rebecki, both on the money line, plus 104. I don't know when my call the card comes out too yet. I don't have odds available for all the fights yet, but we'll put that out a little bit later in the week, probably Tuesday, Wednesday-ish.
Yeah, definitely. Once the odds start to settle down a bit more and you don't see as many shifts, we'll get those out for you guys. But That's it from us here at the JuiceBox Podcast and the UFC edition. We hope everybody has a great week, and we will see you guys in the next one. Take care.
Peace.